minute now and sit on my head. So yeah, it's my equivalent.
That's
style.
the next bit of entertainment for us.
The cat right there.
How are you, Iris?
I'm okay.
Good.
Just rolling along. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. You were taking a long hike this morning.
Where did I go this time?
I passed you. You were out past the sledding hill, I think, when we passed.
Oh yeah, up to Schoonmaker.
Okay, so you're almost at the end of your jaunt.
Yeah, yeah.
You were almost at my house.
Oh,
I'm
What
on
road?
Spoonmaker.
are you on
Schoonmaker.
Schoonmaker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes I'll walk up there if I want to do the 4 mile.
Right.
And if I go up to Longyear and back home, that'll be my 4 miles. But if I just go kind of to Schoonmaker,
Right.
then that'll be my 3.
Yeah. Well, you know where Jeff Moran lives.
Yeah.
I'm the driveway just before his.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have all these different routes. You know, if I
Well,
want
you have to
do.
mix it up a little bit because it gets a little boring.
It does, but I
yeah.
have different ones. You know, I go down
Yeah.
Plaquemine, or I got Millstream, I go up Bluestone. You know, but the total is 5 for the day.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, just you know, I'll go out different times. I don't do it all at once.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's been so hot. You can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Whew. No other board members? Just you, Bill?
Here
I'm
comes
all-
Heather.
I'm all alone.
There he is. Hello.
Hello,
Hi, Richard.
Hey, Richard.
how we doing?
Good.
You, Felicia. Okay.
How's your grandbaby doing?
Gonna be here in 2 weeks. Gonna be here in 2 weeks.
His mother's got him rooting for a winning team.
Gonna see him, be up here in 2 weeks, finally.
Oh, nice. How cool is that?
That's cool.
It
Oh,
is. You'll wait till you see how much they've changed.
Yeah, well, we see him most every day.
FaceTime?
Yeah, well, yeah, Zoom or whatever, yep.
Right. Nice.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Terry.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Terry.
Hey, guys.
There they go. They should be unmuted now.
Oh, after we're done, I guess.
Hi, Linda and Terry. How are you?
Hi.
It's good to see some faces. Although I saw yours not too long ago.
You did, you
It was
did.
good to see you.
Laura.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, we have some lovers in the audience. Yay. Welcome.
Yes.
Hi, Laura.
Thank you.
Yep. Hi. Now we have Iris there too. Hi, Iris.
Yep. Hi.
Laura, I don't know how you have your phone, but we're only seeing from your nose up.
Oh, well, you know what? It's my laptop, and I have it so I can see the screen comfortably.
Okay, now we're seeing your upper lip. There we go. Much better.
There you go. I know I have it so I can see it comfortably, but other people aren't happy, so we'll try to make everybody happy. So we're still, oh, I think we have almost everybody.
Hi, Nick.
Reg. Hi, Reg.
Hi, Reggie.
Oh, Reg is here. Oh, I didn't see him. Ooh.
There's Reggie.
So Nick, what's the word on the Woodstock Times? If there's anything non-confidential you can tell us.
I probably know about as much as you do. They're just playing it by ear, waiting to see. You know, I think when things pick back up, they're going to think about bringing the other newspapers back. But
Yep.
that's
Okay.
about all I know.
Well, I
Right
know.
now we're combined, 4 into 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know that everybody I talk to in Woodstock misses the Woodstock Times because the Woodstock news is very diluted in the Hudson Valley
Yeah.
one.
You get about one page. That's about all they have room
Yeah.
for right
But
now.
it's usually your page, so good job.
Okay, 7 o'clock. I have a quorum, so I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Woodstock Town Board of July 14th to order. Let's see. One quick announcement. Just a reminder, if you have not filled out the census, it's not too late. There is still a push on. It's very important for the town and the county and the state. Proper representation, a proper count is going to get us the proper representation, and also it helps to ensure that we get our fair share of federal dollars back. So if you haven't taken the time to do that, please do. If you need some assistance with that, you can contact the supervisor's office and we can put you in touch with the appropriate people. Laura, you had if you wanted to take a minute to talk about the Dan Scammer Dam.
Yeah. It was actually the power plant. So I sent an email just like an hour ago. So people didn't have a lot of time to look at it on the board, but I sent it to the board and also Maria Elena. And so what the deal is that Dan Scammer is a power plant, and the power plant is located near Newburgh, and it's right on the Hudson River. And so right now, I don't know who is running it today, but there's a commercial organization wants to take over the Dan Scammer. It's been running fossil fuels, so it is definitely a polluter, but it's only running about, I think, 5% or less than 5% of the time because it runs at peak times. And there's a commercial venture that wants to take over the Dan Scammer plant, run it over 70% of the time, and run using fracked natural gas with air polluting. So there are a lot of municipalities that are standing up against this. And I went to a webinar last week. So I've heard a person talk about it at actually the Democratic Committee meeting the other week, but also I went to a webinar where we had Jen Metzger, who is a state senator on an adjoining state Senate district, also Manager Joe Green, who is extremely active in environmental items in the Ulster County legislature. So what I've sent around to people is background, to the board, is background information. And all I'm looking for is approval from you all for me to get started to build a Woodstock resolution. I included in the email a sample resolution for Peekskill. I think that our resolution should be tailored to us, not just a carbon copy, but a lot of the main points are there. But Woodstock has long been a green. What people are saying is don't give us another fossil fuel. Don't rev this thing up for more fossil fuels than we have. Let's look for green solutions, better for the environment, better for the health of the people. And we'll also employ more people. So let's look for a green solution. And the request, Dan Scammer has to go in front of New York State to get approvals. So our resolution would be to say, we oppose this for the reasons why, and to send a letter to our governor and various levels of government, but asking that at the state level that this be denied, not approved to proceed, because it'll be more pollution than it is today, going in the wrong direction. And they also did a study that said we don't actually need this extra energy.
I'm going to cut you off there, Laura. So she sent an email with a number of attachments. If each board member could take a look at that, and maybe we could try and have some feedback to Laura by, say, Friday on whether we want to move forward with something like this, and she could get going on that. Would a couple of days be able to be enough time to put it on the agenda for next week, or do you want to hold off until August?
Well, it would be enough time to put it on the agenda next week. I will say the WEC is meeting tomorrow. If people were okay with me proceeding, I would bring it up tomorrow. If this board isn't behind it, I wouldn't want to. I might bring it up tomorrow and just say, hey, we might be thinking about this. But if this board is behind it, I might even have a resolution to show them. So whatever speed you want to move. If it doesn't happen this month, it'll be August.
I think I'm comfortable with you telling the WEC that we're discussing the possibility of a resolution. and that they may have some thoughts on weighing in.
Okay, and that being the case, Friday is great. If people could just give me a yes or no, would you like the town of Woodstock to sign up? The call for action attachment in there does list all the towns that have signed up and are doing resolutions. So we would be in good company if we do sign up.
Okay, thank you. And I was a little lax earlier. I just want to point out we are joined by the press, Nick Henderson from the Woodstock Times, Felisa Cassett from Woodstock 104.1 FM, and I think I see Bill Kimball on there from the Freeman. So Jackie, for your, yeah, I do see him there. Well, now I really see him.
And I do have two short announcements. If you want me to save them till later, I can, but I can do them now or later.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, one, some people may know Tom Ocker, some people may not know Tom Ocker. Tom Ocker did pass not quite a week ago. Was fighting 2 cancers. It came up a month ago. He went to the emergency room a month ago, and that's when he learned he had 2 cancers. So they've been building for a while without him realizing. So it is sad news.
That makes me very sad.
Yes, well, he did. I mean, he was a real Woodstocker. If you want to think of a real Woodstocker, that was Tom Ocker. So it's I'm sad. I'm sad as well.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Laura, for letting me know.
Yeah.
Tom was a gentleman.
Let us know. Yes, he was.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, and your second announcement?
Is the signs went up. We talked at our last meeting to have 2 more Keep Woodstock Safe signs. So they have been built, and Highway put them up. Richard and I went out and together told Highway where to put them. Are they
on the green?
Yeah.
One is on the
Yay,
green.
yes, I saw it.
Yay! So one is on the green, and then the other one is as you're leaving Mountain View parking lot. Anybody who parks their car there and walks out will see it. We passed a budget of $200. The signs, these signs, the first 2 signs were free because they were with materials the sign maker had. He had to order materials here, and the price of materials did go up. So from here on out, it's $60 a sign. So you'll see a voucher next Tuesday for $120 for the 2 signs. Our $200 budget gives us a 3rd sign if we want. No, we don't have to have one, but anyway, if anybody wants another sign, our $200 approved budget would cover a 3rd sign, but the 2 signs are done up, and I think they're looking pretty good. And thanks to Highway, who is so prompt at getting these things up. Highway, thank you, Highway Department.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Tom. Reggie, before I get to resolutions, do you have anything you want to mention, topic, discussion, anything? Okay. Maria Elena, do you have anything you wanted to?
Well, I have some good news. So the Women's March, Woodstock Women's March, each year we team up with Sunflower, and we help to connect them with some area organizations or nonprofits who need help, and then they do the roundup at the register. So today we presented a check to Emily from the table at Woodstock, and we'll provide information for the press later. But we were happy to be able to give them, a nice check. They're still, in critical mode. They still need a lot of help. So I am personally trying to connect them with other ways that they can, not just monetary donations, but food donations. So I'm working on that now with the owners of Sunflower.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all you're doing, Maria Elena. You're always doing good stuff.
Councilman,
Thank you.
Councilman Rose, do you have anything you want to update us on? Any golf?
We have not played golf in a couple of days.
Okay.
We went down there with our clubs and walked around on the course, but I would not call what we did today playing golf.
Okay.
That's about all I have to say.
Bad, huh?
Bad. We'd have to get a lot better to be bad.
Oh, boy.
Play with me sometime. I'll show you what bad is.
And Councilman Hepner.
I can only echo Mr. Rose.
Boy, if you 2 guys are in agreement, it must have been pretty bad.
No, go ahead. It was pretty bad.
If you want to talk a little big deep at the end of the meeting, I'd do that.
Why don't we run through a couple of resolutions and then we can talk about that. And also I wanted to talk a little bit about the governor's decree about police departments. So I'll go into resolutions. So this is one I'll offer for purpose of discussion, if somebody could second it, and we'll see where we go. Whereas the town of Woodstock has received complaints regarding the visibility of pedestrians in the crosswalk between H House and Son Inc. and Clouds on Mill Hill Road, and whereas the town of Woodstock recommends to the New York State Department of Transportation that they conduct a safety study on said sidewalk, therefore be it resolved, the Woodstock Town Board requests the New York State DOT to conduct such study, and be it further resolved, this resolution be sent to the Department of Transportation.
Well, I'll second for purpose of discussion.
Okay?
I guess the first thing I'll say is there's the crosswalk from House to Clouds, and there's a crosswalk from House to the Green. And I think that we ought to have the Department of Transportation looking at both of them. Theoretically, both of them ought to be safe because they shouldn't put any crosswalk in unless it's not safe. But it would make sense to me to look at both crosswalks because I know that there's a push to get rid of the one from House to Clouds, but they ought to be looking at both crosswalks, I think, to make sure that if we leave one, that it is in fact safe, that we're leaving the safe one. So I'd like to see
I would just say that I've received no complaints about that one. Although Reggie, maybe you were the one complaint? Reggie?
About that one? No.
No, okay.
I had someone mention the one Laura's talking about.
Okay.
House to the Green. Let's do the study and see what they say.
Okay. So,
but I do think the study should have both crosswalks, not just one.
okay, well,
I mean, frankly, I think they should all be reassessed. I think the one in Rock City could be moved back further up Rock City. I don't know, was there a study done when they went in? I wasn't on the board back then, but I don't know how they ended up there.
I'm not sure I was alive when they went in.
No, they're fairly.
I'm not sure I'm alive today.
What's that?
And I'm not sure I'm alive today.
Your lips are moving, so I think you're okay for now.
Can we take a vote on that?
Yeah, it could just be a nerve switch.
So I will amend it to read both crosswalks across Mill Hill and Tinker Street.
Yeah, and I will say, even though I'm the one that's always been
there's a motion.
Okay.
For the change.
Yeah, I second the change.
Okay. Any discussion on
I'm sorry.
the resolution?
Well, so the other comment I want to make is, I know I've been the one that has really been saying, oh, I'm afraid of taking away the one crosswalk going to Clouds because, what if we have an accident and it's not there? But I will also say I was coming out of Rock City Road today and there was nobody crossing. And as I started to turn, somebody walked from a house and stepped into the crosswalk. They weren't, when I started turning, they weren't there. And I did stop right away. So, so I guess I'm not sure which way I go in terms of get rid of it or don't get rid of it, but we should make sure the other one's safe if we're just leaving one.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Before I forget to, at the end of the meeting, I do have on the agenda, public be heard. So if anybody wants to be heard and you're a member of the public, hold on, Iris, let me finish. Send a chat comment to Ashley and she'll put you on the list. So the next resolution, whereas the town of Woodstock and the town of Hurley have both received complaints regarding the speed limit on Glenford-Wittenberg Road, and whereas the section of Wittenberg Road ending at 212 is already 35 miles an hour, and whereas the town of Woodstock recommends that Ulster County Department of Public Works reduce the speed limit on Glenford-Wittenberg Road from the current 45 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour. Therefore, be it resolved, the Woodstock Town Board requests the Ulster County Department of Public Works have the New York State Department of Transportation conduct such study of Glenford-Wittenberg Road, and be it further resolved, a copy of this resolution be sent to the New York State Department of Transportation and to the supervisor of the town of Hurley. For the purpose of discussion, do I have a second?
Second.
So I've gotten a couple of calls over the last 8-10 months. Hurley's is received more, and the supervisor of Hurley asked if the town would be willing to make a co-request. So I offer this. What's your pleasure? Any questions?
No, it's fine with me.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Be it resolved upon receipt of a completed Family Medical Leave Act form to approve a paid, unpaid leave of absence for William Washburn effective June 29th, 2020.
Second, purpose of discussion?
Mm-hmm.
Any more information? What's a paid, unpaid leave of
What's the
absence?
pay, exactly, what's paid unpaid?
There may be some vacation time or accruals that he will use, and the bulk of it would be unpaid.
Well, I thought the idea of the Family Medical Leave Act is you really can't deny it because it's a law. I mean,
We can't, but we still need a resolution. The bookkeeper needs a resolution to guide her. She can't just do it.
I think it's the law says we need to approve it.
Yeah,
So there you go.
okay. And so any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we are at, well, let's talk about Big Deep and Little Deep. Richard, do you want to start that one off?
Well, yeah, I've done some research on it. This is not, despite what some people might think, this is not the first time Big Deep has been closed. It's been closed by other town boards. That doesn't make it good. It's just, I'm just stating some facts. Big Deep was actually turned over to the town by Zuma Steel, or Zuma Steel Parker in 1961. She donated the land. In the article that's in the Freeman that discusses the donation, it does say that it was to be used for town residents. Now, I'm thinking a lot about this in terms of, in general, what do we offer in terms of recreational services? Not much. And I'm thinking this is not going away. We're going to be back here next year doing the same damn thing, just like we were last year. And I think maybe we should use August to experiment a little bit. So we don't have to vote on it tonight. We can discuss it. But I'm thinking we should hire someone to be there on at least on a weekend basis. We could discuss hours and all those things at another time. Basically, think of it as a park. Think about hiring an auxiliary person.
To do what?
Well, let me finish and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Now, it's got a couple multiple things could happen. We could set up a permitting system and limit it to town residents, or we can charge fees for out-of-town residents. I would also add to that person that we hire, whether they work 3 hours on a Saturday, 3 hours on a Sunday, whatever it is. There seems to be a willingness on Facebook anyway for people to volunteer. I would add a couple volunteers to that person as well. That person would basically monitor it. If we went to a permitting system, making sure the permits are valid, reminding people about carry in, carry out, basically be a supervisor of that property, not a lifeguard. We just treat it as a town property. This person's in charge of maintaining that property and making sure it's used properly. Unless we do something, like I said, we're going to do the same thing next year. And frankly, I think Big Deep needs to be opened at some point. And so that's basically it. You could also pay for it. We could easily tap the recreation fund that's set up through the real estate transactions, those types of things. I think basically for a month, we might be talking a few $1,000s. I don't think we need a shed or a booth or an office. I think for the few hours the person's there, a table, some umbrellas or something like that would work. I would not put a dumpster there. And see where it goes and try it for a few weeks and see if it works. What do we got to lose? We're certainly not gaining on it. So that's my thoughts.
With coronavirus,
No,
you think this is a good year to...
hold on. Let me just go back to the question I asked, just to get clarification. So the person that we would be hiring would be a lifeguard or would not be a lifeguard?
Would not be a lifeguard. We don't encourage swimming. It's just town property. You do what you want on it. We just got somebody monitoring it.
But it would be with a permit system?
That's up to the town board. Yes, I would argue for that, but that's not my decision. That's the board's decision.
Okay, but you're not proposing one way or the other.
Well, I think it's easier to monitor if there's a permitting system.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we charge local residents or not, again, would be up to the town board. We'd certainly, then whether or not we open it to out-of-towners and charge them an absorbent fee, that's something else too.
My recollection was that the state was pretty adamant that if we had a permit system, then we had to have lifeguards.
Well,
So-
I don't know. If it was a hiking trail, we controlled it that way, we don't need I don't know.
Okay.
We're not encouraging swimming. You could be a fisherman going in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we would hire one person, they would walk back and forth between Big Deep and Little Deep and
Well,
monitor?
like I said, if people, from what I see on Facebook, if people are willing to volunteer, we could supplement that person with a couple of volunteers who work a couple hours, work a shift, and help monitor and be of assistance to the person we hire.
Okay,
I don't want people holding, it's not to collect garbage. They shouldn't be doing that. That's the responsibility of the people who go in. But if we got somebody monitoring that, we can at least make some progress there.
okay. Laura, I think you had,
Yeah, with this coronavirus year, are you thinking this is a good year to start opening it back up?
Well, it's been open basically, so I don't think it's, I don't know. Who knows about next year even?
But is it safe for somebody we hire to be going in there because of coronavirus?
Well, we got people, we got cops, we got lots of people working.
I had an interesting conversation with a gentleman about the closing of Big Deep and how we're tyrannical.
Oh, I had the same, you must have talked to the same person, but yes.
Yeah, we must have. And it ended up with him telling me the virus didn't exist, or I couldn't prove to him that it existed. And I'm about to say one of the stupidest things I've ever said, probably, but there's
Hold on.
Ashley, this is.
Let's hear it.
Hold on, is this being recorded?
Yeah,
Yes.
record this because if we're going to build any kind of structure in there, I believe the geyser core would maybe supply the labor.
Oh,
And I
wow.
haven't-
Oh, boy.
That's
I
not
have not cleared it with all of them.
I haven't cleared it with any of them.
Well, that's true, but I said if a small structure is necessary, the geyser core would probably volunteer their labor. Since it's a project
Right.
that, I mean, I grew up swimming in these creeks, but we never swam below town because there was no sewer system back then, so it was hazardous.
So there was a good reason not to.
Very good reason not to.
Well,
Well,
I
you did-
just
If-
have to pipe in and say, with all the people that are using the streams around here, we have a sewer problem now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We have a serious problem. Bill, when you walked back with a whole bunch of town people, town employees, was there much water in Big Deep?
We went from the dam up. We didn't quite make it to Big Deep, but the water was kind of low.
Yeah, I know the people that went there were kind of surprised that this was such a hot area for people that don't live here.
Mm-hmm.
And the sanitary conditions when you have low water or just a pool of water is pretty disgusting.
Well, I mean, if there are public health reasons to close it, then yeah, you close it. And
I
that's-
would think that somebody should go in there and test that water.
Well, I was just going to
Until
ask,
we get something that runs that water clean, it should be tested.
it should be tested
It's
all.
pretty disgusting back in there.
And having people unmonitored and basically using it as they're using it makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
It was closed in previous times by other town boards just for that reason, because of bacteria. That was before.
Yeah.
That was before the sewer system went in.
We're getting terrible phone calls at our office about what people are doing there, taking diapers off and rinsing them off in the water and animals in there. And I mean, I can't figure out what the draw is there, except for maybe that they can swim there without clothes. I don't know. I think that's about the only thing.
It used to be very cool, but it's all silted in now, so it's basically a mud hole.
Yeah, yeah, it's you know, I think we need to discourage the use much more than encourage the use. That's just me, somebody that's been here for 65 years. Well, 63, Lauren, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to say
Don't
how
try
old
to-
you are.
Don't try
I
to
don't wanna
rob
say
my
how old you
seniority.
are.
Bill,
I remember when you came here.
Reggie?
I just wanted to add on to what Lauren was saying. I mean, if Geezer Corps is willing to do that, I think it's great. I think we do have to have some kind of structure, because if we have someone down there, as I've said previously, I don't think we can have them standing out in the sun and not have anywhere to have shelter. Also, I discussed this with Richard a few days ago, but we have to have a restroom if someone's working there. To say that you stayed out there for 3 or 4 hours, if we determine that's a shift, and to not give them, and to not give them somewhere to use the restroom is not okay. And even if we have volunteer, I mean, I think we have to think through that piece a little bit more.
No, I agree with that. I thought I said porta potties, maybe I didn't, but that's what I figure into the budget, for a month.
Well, you also said no shelter, and I just don't know how
Well,
August.
I said it depends on how long the person's working there. If it's 2 or 3 hours and we can get away with an umbrella, I didn't know Mr. Geezer there was going to volunteer us, but that's okay with me too. Here's look, it's not going to get better next year. We got to come up with a solution, all right? Unless we just want to permanently close it.
No.
And if we're not going to do that, then we have to have a solution. I'm just trying to nudge us towards some type of solution, whatever it may be.
I remember that we had a discussion back when we were spending money on the pavilion up at Rick Vols Fields. And I remember saying that I thought this was a great piece of property that we should somehow develop into a more pleasant recreational experience. So, Richard, I'm not opposed to the ideas that you're talking about. I do think we have to think them out a little bit more, though.
I would go as far as, I thought about this today too. I mean, and I think I mentioned last year that the thing needs to be dredged. But let's establish, if we're going to do something, let's ultimately establish a park there.
Establish a park there?
Yeah.
That's what I said 2 years ago. Yeah, we're in agreement. I think we're going to have to take a harder.
I just don't want to I don't want to arrive at next July and be in the same spot. I just like to get something going somehow.
Right. So would you work with me? Maybe we can approach the state and find out parameters about how we can operate a park and what the requirements are, whether we need lifeguards or not. Because again, my recollection, they were pretty adamant 2 years ago. I mean, we had the permit system all printed up and ready to go, and they wanted lifeguards.
I see it as a park, and people can go there. If they want to jump in the water, that's their problem.
Right.
I don't see us encouraging swimming. I don't see us discouraging swimming. It's just an area the town owns, and we're monitoring it.
Okay. So maybe we could get together later in the week and have a conference call with the state and discuss some of the parameters.
Well, some parks do have entrance fees, and if we had an entrance fee where Woodstock residents got in for free, but we did charge other people. I mean, if we're going to make it a state park, could we?
It'll be a town park.
A town park. But some parks do charge for entrance. So if we have somebody working there, we might defray the cost if we were charging out of towners.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
in Lawrence shelter.
We're all in agreement that we should not open it this year because of the pandemic. Is that correct, or am I just assuming that?
It sounded like Richard wanted to open it sooner.
I wanted to get started before next year somehow. Whatever you decide is fine with me. I don't know what's been going on. I haven't been down there the last week or so. From what I hear is people are still showing up. People are still going in. The cops cannot be down there all day. And people say, well, let's write tickets, let's enforce it, all this stuff. But we can't. We just can't. So either come up with a system where we can enforce it, or let's shut it down.
Well, I would disagree with you a little bit, Richard. You know, I'm sure there are a few people sneaking in there, but by and large, the numbers have disappeared. I mean, we don't have people parked out on 212. We don't have people over in the lot on
Oh, you had people parked on 212 last weekend.
The cops went and removed most of those, or I did.
Right. Saying they were there.
But it was nowhere near the numbers that we've experienced past.
Yeah,
I mean,
but part of also now what I'm saying is people are moving up the stream a little bit. They're going into the mill stream now. So that's getting to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they get far enough up, it'll be Clayton's problem.
True.
I can say the parking on Mill Stream is not, back, was it 3 or 4 years ago or more, when we put all those signs up and put the fines up on Mill Stream? It used to be horrible before that. I can say more people might be there, but I can tell you the parking issue is not nearly as bad as it was before we took all those actions.
I don't know. I saw some things on Facebook that said it was this weekend.
I think on Sunday, I think there was some parking issues. But I think, again, the police did show up and wrote a number of tickets.
There was someone I spoke to earlier, the same person actually, who felt like, Little Deep should be open. He said he was in there on Monday after the weekend, and there wasn't any trash. And he would come in and was looking to see, if he could pick up anything, but he said he didn't see any. And he was wondering if we just had Little Deep, if we didn't want to have Big Deep, if just we had access to Little Deep. So
the only thing I would say, Reggie, two things is one, that the garbage wasn't bad because I think
nobody was there.
Right.
Very few people were there, and the people that are sneaking in are more the locals who are just going in for a quick dip and leaving before the police catch them there. So I think that's part of the reason you didn't see the garbage. The other thing is that, my fear, and it did start to bear out, is when we put the emphasis on closing Big Deep, everybody started to go down to Little Deep. So I think it's only a matter of time before that would become a problem. I mean, one of the other options that I've tossed around with Clayton is the possibility that we not strictly enforce things during the weekdays and just really concentrate on the weekends when the crowds are at its worst. That could end up being problematic. I don't know.
That would be a lawsuit.
It potentially could be.
That would be a lawsuit.
Although communities, aren't required to strictly enforce their laws. So anyway, all things that we can think about. Richard, if you want to get together one day later in the week, we can call the state and try and get some more guidance from them on setting up a park.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen the town of Ulster Park, for example, which is on the river. There's no lifeguards there, so I don't.
And that's a fair question we should bring up. So, okay. Anything else?
I'd like to bring up something a little depressing. I go to Cooper Lake at dawn every morning, basically, and go around to the dike and look at the mud hole, and there's kingfishers, great blue herrings, snapping turtles. Coming home the other day, I saw 4 things out there floating, and I thought, man, there's a duck I've never seen before. And I got my binoculars, and they were empty Gatorade bottles.
Oh no.
And I just sunk and went home.
I know that the city of Kingston has contacted Clayton about the number of trespassers they're experiencing up there.
And well, actually, I'm one of them at dawn, but I'm very careful. And, but there are more and more people there, a bunch of people swimming in there because they're not swimming anywhere else.
Yes.
And I wouldn't care if it wasn't getting trashed.
Right.
And I wouldn't care about people swimming in Big Deep if they weren't just trashing the place.
That's the problem.
So
I agree.
I don't think of us would care. You know, it's interesting on Facebook, by and large, I mean, nobody's happy, but most people, particularly locals, they realize that, you know, this is not the town board's fault. This is the fault of individuals who just don't care.
And social media, Airbnbs, I mean, they were advertising these swimming holes,
Yeah.
and that's killing us,
Yeah.
basically.
But see, that's why I think we need to come up with something. I'd like to see this go back to the locals at least. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I said, we don't offer a heck of a lot of recreational opportunities in this town. And we all pay our taxes, and the locals have been swimming there for 100 years. So,
I don't think anybody's against that, Richard. I think we all.
No,
think
I'm just saying if we can work it out, and I think a lot of our problems would be lessened in terms of garbage and littering and all that stuff. And maybe we make it for locals only.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be in favor of that too.
Okay. So let's, we'll see what the legalities are in doing something like that and come back with some options.
We also ought to look at the price difference between, and I hate to disagree with Councilman Hebner here, but I think we need to put a dumpster in there. I would put a dumpster in there if the cost is as close to us sending somebody down there to clean the place up.
Well, no, I guess my point, Lauren, was if you put a dumpster down there, then people just dump it, and then we're responsible for it. I'm trying, if it was just locals only, we had somebody monitoring it, making sure people carried out what they brought in there. I don't know if that would work, but either way, we still have to have somebody come down there and empty the dumpster. So,
well, that would be contracted with someone that takes care of it.
Do we have signage down there that says if you bring it in, you take it out?
We've got no dumping. We've got all kinds of signs.
Okay.
Yeah, this town specializes in signs.
Yeah.
We've probably got a dozen different signs down there.
Well, we got more signs than, and
Oh my
Laura, I think your signs are great, but there was half the people on the green right under your sign had no masks on.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, at least we tried. I mean, the point is,
No, I'm
we
in
tried.
favor of them.
That's right.
It's a good idea, but a sign without a 2x4 really doesn't help much.
Ooh, ow.
You
Well,
know,
there you go.
far be it from me to agree with Councilman Hepner, Councilman Rose, but
this is a banner night.
It is. Oh my God.
I'm not
oh
even
my
sure, you know, if we ended up restricting it to locals, that we would even need a dumpster down there because, and I hate to pick on out-of-towners, but typically they're the folks coming in big groups with all kinds of food. You know, the locals, most of them slip in for a walk or a quick dip, and then they're out in their home. They're not using it as a restroom. They're not bringing meals to cook. So, you know, I think garbage would be less of a problem if we were to restrict it that way. So, anyway, well, we have our homework cut out for us. You know, one thing I did see on Facebook that I totally agreed with, somebody said, this is not a solution, it's a reaction. And it's true, this is not a solution. Closing it isn't a solution. It's a reaction to a problem, and it's short term. We have to, you know, we just can't deal with the garbage right now and the danger of spreading the virus. So it's, you know, this is a short term, I'm not even going to call it a fix. I do think it's a beautiful property down there, and we should make sure that all Woodstockers get to enjoy it.
Yeah. Although, back to the dumpster, I just saw, Susan made a chat.
Yeah, it was Susan's chat entry.
That if you do put a dumpster down there, and we've all seen it happen in town, weekenders will be dumping their garbage as they leave town.
Yep.
So,
You know, the big garbage cans do get household garbage in them. That's why we've gone to some of the smaller cans with the smaller holes, because people do start leaving it there.
Oh, you can see it from Brett alone when you look out the window across the house parking lot. Yeah, I agree with that completely. But the thing I think that could kind of contract that problem would be to close it at dusk.
Yeah.
So then people would have to drive in there when there was people there and put their garbage in the
we'd have to work out hours. In
You
fact,
mean actually chain it up?
Yeah, put up a chain so it's closed after dusk.
You talking
Mhm.
about the dumpster?
I'm talking about Big Deep.
Big D.
Well, it should be, if you're gonna make it a park, it should be the same as Andy Lee Brick Vaults, you know, they're open from dusk to dawn.
Exactly.
Simple. So it
I
says,
think that would limit some of the people bringing their garbage in there.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, if they have to walk or carry it in, it's not gonna be very comfortable for them.
But while we're talking about garbage, I got a neighbor who had her garbage spread across Cooper Lake Road 3 days in a row.
Nice.
Mm.
She put a sign on her thing on her
No bears
garbage
allowed.
house.
Do the bears read? Do they read the sign?
Evidently not. They got her 3 nights in a row, so I'm thinking it's personal.
Hello, come down Schoonmaker. There's lots of garbage across our road too. People just
Oh,
don't get
just-
it.
People
Just don't get it.
don't understand that.
No. How many
Bear-
times they want to pick it up, I have no idea.
You know, there was an incident last week where there's one, and it's a multi-unit house up in Lake Hill with tenants, and the garbage, they just let it pile up and pile up. The bears have been getting in there for weeks now, and there's garbage all through the woods, all up and down 212. And a bear was hit there on Friday.
Oh,
Oh, dear.
oh.
So
Was it killed?
I don't have any details. It was
Oh.
a small bear, so it didn't do any damage to the car.
Oh, great.
But the bear was hurt. If it was a bigger bear, the bear's going to get hurt. The person's potentially gets hurt. There's damage. So, you know, people just need to pay attention and be responsible. So with that, I'm going to go to public be heard. And then at the end of the meeting, I want to go into executive session just to update you guys on
I do want to, Bill, talk briefly about STRs. If that's
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
well. No, the thing about the garbage reminds me to mention that, you know, people need to be registered with their short-term rentals. If they're not registered, they're operating illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Also, within the if you are registered within the guidelines that the town provides, garbage is supposed to go out no less, a minimum 24 hours before your garbage pickup. In other words, the night before. You can't be leaving your garbage out on Sunday when people leave and expect it to last until Wednesday when waste management comes through.
I think you meant a maximum of 24 hours.
Maximum 24 hours. Yeah, I'm sorry. And in discussing, you know, briefly with Butch and things like that, you know, enforcement is going to happen. And, you know, if you're not registered, you're illegal. And just remember that.
Actually, what you bring that up, Richard, maybe you could just reach out to Butch. I know he was preparing to send out a letter to those who hadn't filed. And I told him that you two guys should just have a quick conversation.
Yeah. In fact, tonight, I think at the county legislature, there's a public hearing. The county is thinking of entering into an agreement with Airbnb, at least for them to for Airbnb to start collecting the bed tax in Ulster County. I wrote a letter on behalf of the town reminding them we still need the software that tells us where everybody is, and pretty much got a favorable response to that. But also, you know, even if they do this and Airbnb starts collecting the tax, we have a cap. And even though you're in your county bed tax, doesn't mean you're legal in Woodstock.
You know, and I asked the county back several months ago to review that, and I asked politely that they stop issuing those tax numbers until people were approved in the town of Woodstock. Because what was they've approved far more than
Exactly.
we have a cap for.
Yeah, and people think they're legal in Woodstock because they got the county form.
Yes.
They're not.
So I was a little disappointed. Now this did happen back before the pandemic, so I know that they've been a little overwhelmed, but I did come back to it a couple of weeks ago and still don't have resolution over that.
And the odd part is, in the county, we're the only town in the county that requires short-term rental registration with the county.
Right.
before they can register here in Woodstock. In other words, you register a short-term rental in Woodstock, you have to present your county form that you signed up and registered with the county. We're the only town that's making sure the county gets its money.
Right.
So
They should cooperate a little bit more.
they will.
So, Ashley, do we have anybody who wanted to publicly
Yep.
be heard?
First is Iris, and then Linda Lover.
Okay. Iris?
Okay, yeah, there was an article in the Hudson Valley One now about Nomi Halpern. So I just wanted to acknowledge it in public. Nomi Halpern is a friend of mine who just turned 106.
Oh, wow.
God bless.
Yeah, last
Happy birthday.
July 3rd. And she's in Golden Hill now, although quite honestly, she could probably be home. The woman is amazing. And but of course she couldn't come out. So she was inside by the window and all of us were outside. And, you know, the reporter came and Dion took photographs, and that's one of them is the ones that is in the paper. But she is just an amazing woman. She's alert. I don't know. I've known her only for 10 years, and I don't think she's ever really been sick. I mean, she's just really amazing, and she's still perky and everything at 106. So I wanted to just acknowledge her birthday in public.
Thank you, Iris.
Fabulous.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, second thing.
Uh-oh.
After the right, after the
minutes are up.
discussions now about, you know, Big Deep and Little Deep, I don't know. It concerns me that you're even thinking about doing something this year because of the pandemic. I mean, our numbers are great. There's zero active cases. Opening that up, we just Linda, what, 2 more, Linda? Since really?
Yeah.
I just looked today. It still said 0. Huh.
Tonight it
Okay.
said
I guess they didn't update it. I looked this morning.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was 0 this morning.
Yeah, it was 0. Yeah.
I looked this afternoon. It was.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
Public hearing.
Okay. So anyway, given that even, it's just that if you open it up, and everybody's going to go from every place. And now's not the time to be getting lax. We need to be aware and, you know, keep things tight. That's my opinion. Because, you know, things are going to get, I think, worse anyway. We might as well not start too soon. It's my opinion.
Thank you, Iris.
Okay.
No, I don't disagree with Iris on that. I mean, obviously, if it's public health, that comes first. I just think we need to start thinking about it. Can I ask Iris a question since she roams
Yeah.
our,
Go ahead.
about the crosswalks? What do you have any
Okay. You want my opinion?
Yeah.
You got it. Okay. I do like both of them, and here's my reason. If you take away the one from house to clouds,
Mhm.
people who are in the cars coming up, up Mill Hill and crossing onto Tinker, where if there's no crosswalk there, the cars don't know to stop there. So if somebody is crossing, if you only have the one to the green, they're going to stop in the intersection because all of a sudden they're going to see somebody coming. They're not stopping at the corner at Clouds. They're stopping in the intersection because people aren't coming across there. There's no line there. There's nothing. So that's my concern, that they're just going to keep going until they're in the intersection and then they're going to stop there. I personally use all of them and I don't have a problem. You got to watch out. But, I understand people coming from the Joshua side, and coming around the curve. But then you've got the problem coming up Mill Hill, and where are they going to stop if there isn't at least some line telling them to stop there? So anyway, that's my thing. And people go from corner to corner, whether there is a crosswalk there or not. They're still going to go from house to clouds.
That may be true, Iris, but the crosswalk gives people false security in that they step out thinking they're in the crosswalk, they're protected, and they're not. Technically, you're supposed to be making eye contact. You're supposed to be. You have a responsibility as a crosser to make sure that the driver sees you, and
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I put my hand up, just
right.
It's
there's a blind spot as you come up and around the
from the
hill
Joshua's side. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
coming up Mill Hill to the green.
I don't know.
This
I
is-
never kind of noticed that. I mean, I don't drive that often that way, but
It's a huge, huge blind spot. You do not see people until
Yeah.
they're halfway through that crosswalk.
You mean on the clouds one? On the clouds one, Jackie?
Yes.
Yeah.
But but then you would see, because the one to the green is further away. I would think if you don't see the people in the clouds one, you wouldn't see the people in the green one either.
Oh no,
What's
that
happening?
one's because it's far enough back that you can see that one. It's the house to clouds.
It's
But you
the,
have to round the curve
Laura,
first, though.
it's the curve. It's as you're coming up the curve, and it's probably not every car, but it's a lot of cars. As you're coming up and rounding, there's a terrible black, dark spot from
Blind
most
spot.
car posts,
Yeah.
blind spot, where people are halfway to the yellow line there.
Yes.
And I get a lot of people complaining. I mean, I talked to Mike Reynolds for half an hour about it. The same thing. Pickup trucks, probably big SUVs, are particularly bad because they've got the big corner post. But it is a blind spot. Whereas, as I make that turn, then I have a better view of people because I've kind of straightened out and I can see people in the other crosswalk.
You know, I think it's a good idea that you have the state do the study. Let's see what they come up with.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was just about to say.
We
is-
could
is that's-
argue it left and right.
Yeah, that's the right. Get some experts to give us their opinion. So yes,
Okay.
I agree.
All right. Linda, public be heard?
Right.
Or was it Terry?
Yeah, I'm going to go with this. But I'd like to thank you all for your genuine concern and running the village and the town, and it's really good to see. It's gives us security and stability. But just a little prepared statement.
Oh, we got to go now, Terry.
Yeah, let's see.
Wait a minute.
Well, during the time that we've been at home since mid-March, just like most people, we've become really aware of changes happening to the thickly settled neighborhood that we're in on Glasgow Turnpike. It starts at the four-way stop where Rock City Road meets Glasgow and runs up at least to Lower Birdcliff Road. And on a daily basis, we see a lot of people walking, children walking, riding bikes, walking dogs, jogging, riding bike, and doing all kinds of things on the road. We've lived in the house for 5 years, and we've always noticed trucks and cars speeding by. But the traffic has increased dramatically, as has the speed of the vehicle. We're also concerned about the corner of Lower Birdcliff and Glasgow Turnpike. We've witnessed near accidents because of the speed and bushes that are not trimmed enough to see around. I don't know if anybody's ever pulled up that way and tried to make a left. It's a pretty tough thing to do. When pulling out from Lower Birdcliff, I had to make a report probably 2 weekends ago to the town police. It was on a Saturday that there was a near accident there. And I had been walking with my dog and I couldn't see up Glasgow Turnpike and just had to kind of wing it, take the dog across the road. Well, 3 days later, sure enough, there was a big accident there. We've spoken to our neighbors who tell us not to bother because nothing will get done. They've tried for years, they said, and I guess Bill has mentioned also that the county did a study, not exactly sure when, but that was then, this is now. I know we're only two people, but I believe we speak for our neighbors when we respectfully ask the town to help us get another study on this and reduce the speed limit. Possibly 1 mile, as you come up Rock City to Glasgow, maybe 1 mile or half a mile at least down in that direction, and at least a half a mile, maybe a mile up, going up the hill. I know it's a tough haul for trucks, but when they go by our house, it's tough to believe they're doing 40 miles an hour. But we're, and with the consensus of the neighbors, we're looking to request 30 miles an hour, you know, hoping that maybe in terms of compromise, even if it went to 35, that would be an improvement. We hope you'll consider this and let us know how you can help make this happen before someone gets killed. Because we do hear like screeching of tires, you know, like, well, I'll mention to Linda that I was out with our dog, and once again, it was tough. She probably gets tired of hearing me mention it, but invariably to mention it, it'll be a squeal of tires a day, 2 days later. So maybe I shouldn't mention it to her.
Now, we have a lot of Airbnb people too in this neighborhood, and there's lots more traffic of people walking and jogging and biking. I mean, it's really picked up since we've been here. So it's dangerous.
Linda and Terry, do you guys live on Glasgow? I mean, on Lower Burcliff or Rock City Road?
No, we live
Glasgow.
on Glasgow Turnpike.
Glasgow, up right at that
right by
intersection?
Cedar Way.
Cedar Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
Have
in
you
there.
guys contacted the county personally?
I have contacted the county to
No,
find
I mean,
out.
as far as cutting back bushes.
No, I thought that was everybody's own responsibility to do that on their property.
No, no,
county-
the county would do that, just like the state comes through. So I would call the county DOT. If you want to call me tomorrow, I'll give you their phone number and ask them if they would come up and trim back bushes. People aren't allowed to have bushes that impede into roadways. So I would,
Well,
I'll definitely give you that phone number.
Yeah, somebody did cut that one bush down because there was such a bad accident last week or the week before that.
Right.
It was such
Yeah.
a bad accident. It was because a pickup truck was coming out of Lower Birdcliff, stopped, didn't see anybody coming, but they come down that hill so fast.
I know, they do come
The
down
woman had a
fast.
really small car and it threw the car almost into the house. And
Wow.
it was bad. We both looked at each other and went, there we go. There's the accident that he reported to the police 3 days before that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a county.
And just so I know, so the speed limit that you're looking for is on Glasgow, not on Rock City Road?
No, it's on
Right, on
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Glasgow, okay.
Stop like a mile out on either direction.
I think they just did that not that long ago. I think Bill is correct, and they refused
Yeah.
to lower it. It wasn't
Yeah,
that long ago.
It was a few years ago. I remember Jonathan
Yeah.
telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was pushing and the county said, no, it's fine, it's fine.
Weren't you on the board, Richard?
I think I was,
I think you were.
but
I think
yeah,
you
it
were
was
too. Yeah,
a
it
few
wasn't that
years,
long.
a few years ago. But Jackie's right as far as the bushes go.
So I did call the county because
I
Terry.
told Jonathan too. I don't know if he knows about
Yeah,
it.
reach out to Jonathan as well. Because Terry and Linda and I had a conversation about this a couple of days ago, and I did talk to the county also to see if they would be willing to do another study, because I think they do have some limit, you know, a minimum amount of time between doing studies, and they have done 2 on Glasgow Turnpike. They weren't sure of the dates, but in the last dozen years or so. So when I hear back from the county, I'll let you know. Wouldn't hurt for you to call as well,
Okay.
to rattle about the bushes and reach out to Jonathan.
Oh,
Okay. And even a sign, we were thinking too, even a sign as they're coming down the hill and they're approaching that four-way stop ahead. Maybe then they
Right.
would slow down a little.
Right.
You know,
But that's all county though. So call me tomorrow, Linda. I'm in at 9 to 3, and
Okay.
I'll give you the phone number and
Okay.
have your concerns listed down so that when you call, you can tell them what it is that you're concerned about. And then Richard can get you in touch with his son.
Okay,
Yeah, they
yeah, I
don't-
know how to get in touch with Jonathan. I'll get in touch with
Oh,
Jonathan.
you know
They
him,
know
yes.
better than I don't know.
No, it's just that it is, I'm not kidding. I mean, this isn't just, a bunch of baloney. There are a lot of people, more
Okay.
people than ever walking on this road and around and on Lower Bird Cliff and just this whole area.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ashley, anybody else?
That was all that I know. I saw Susan's hand up earlier, but
Susan, did you have a quick something before we go into executive session?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that as far as the crosswalks, I have a Honda Element, and I do have one of those larger columns. And either crosswalk, as you're coming up from either direction, if you don't have the first one, you're definitely going to miss the second one. If people,
Right.
especially people out of town, I think we need to keep both crosswalks, because out of towners will slow down when they see the first one. But it's coming from both bends that you really need both of them to remain. What we really need there also is a three-way stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's probably one of those things the state's not going to do, but
No.
it's
Well,
an
We-
impossible. It's an
we've-
impossible.
We've talked multiple
road to get
times
out.
about that.
Yeah, the issue I have that with a three-way stop is in summer it seems great, and in winter the last thing if you have an icy road and you're uphill and you have to stop, you can be stuck on that icy road for a while. So but because it's hilly there, a three-way stop I think would be a disaster in the wintertime.
Right, I
Okay.
hear you on that. I agree.
And that's I worry. And I wish I wish we had a three-way stop there too, but winter is a reality.
Right.
And the
Okay.
last thing you want is to put one in and take one out at different times of the year, because then you have accidents. So
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm
as
gonna-
far as what Terry and Linda were talking about in regard to the amount of pedestrian traffic on the roadways, I've been taking note of that too. A lot of people who are clearly not from Woodstock, the numbers of people have increased, and that makes for more accidents as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
and the other thing that came up at one of our the Woodstock Immigrant Support meetings is housing, because it's an issue that we've been dealing with, but also local people who live here who are being asked to move because the owner of the home or the building is wanting to sell at this point because they can get a lot of money right now. And I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that, but people are not able to find any place to live. And we have a couple of social workers who serve this community who are having trouble finding a new place to live.
It's a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So with that, I am going to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing a criminal investigation.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So I'm going to
Okay.
say good night to the rest of you.
Thanks for
Good
coming out,
Bye.
everybody.
Good night.
Take care.
Susan, lovers, Iris.